Right, I think we are live. It's saying we're live. So perhaps someone who's watching us, perhaps Andrew, you can let us know if we're showing okay. We are here for once on a very sunny afternoon in the UK. Hence the fact I haven't got my thick jumper on as normal. And we've got Lance from sunny Florida. How are you doing, Lance?
Great, Catherine. Thank you. It's a beautiful, beautiful, calm day here, and glad
like
to
every day,
be there.
like almost every day.
Absolutely, absolutely, every day.
I love it when we speak to you, Lance, because you're always outside in the sunshine and everything. And so, yeah, you always send the sunshine. And back by popular demand, Timo, Dr. Tastutar. So Timo and I did a lot of shows last year on the animal series. If you look on our animal playlist for the Vibrant Animal team. And Timo, I call him Brains because he's got very big brains. How you doing, Timo?
Fine, fine. I'm super excited to be here today, especially with you and Lance together to talk about something very important. I enjoy it, and I say hello to everyone, especially Andrea, of course. And I have Rodney from Tasmania, which I find really cool because I'm a big fan of Taz. And hi to Japan.
Yeah, so nice. Amazing. Thank you for those of us that are joining us now, because it's quite some while since we've all spoken and we've never had all three of us together. Before we get into the brilliant subject matter of the DHA and the algae oil and how important this is for cellular health for all animals, can I ask you both to just introduce yourself to the audience? So should we start with you, Lance?
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. So I graduated from the University of Iowa with a degree in health science, and I've really been interested in health and wellness for, really much of my life, but specifically once I got into college, so probably 14 years ago. And I just really started learning a lot about all the different modalities and really digging deep into health and medicine and really trying to discover the truth for myself and how could I help improve my life, and then how could I take that information and improve the lives of others. And so I've been very fascinated with supplements and specific nutrients and how it can impact the body, and really just kind of going at it from a deep dive angle of what's the source of things, what's the purest source of a particular product, why is it good for us, and what is it that's adding some sort of unique value or characteristic to our health. So just discovering unique things and really trying to bring them out to the world to help a lot of people and animals.
That's fantastic. It's something we all share, all got a passion for. So Timo, Dr. Timo, but we'll call you Timo today. Can you introduce yourself for people that haven't seen you for a while?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I'm a vet and not a typical one, more of a nerd, biology nerd who loves all pets, all animals, especially horses, cats, and dogs. I'm also involved a lot in pet nutrition and horse nutrition, physiology and movement patterns. I try to make lives of the pets better. So if I say something that insults you or you feel like attacked, don't feel like it. I do it for the good of your animal. And yeah, that's me. So I'm super excited to be here because I talked, of course, to Lance before and Catherine always. And we wanted to discuss all these beautiful things about, or the ugly things about omega-3 fatty acids in the market, what's there, what can we use, what should be avoided, and why and how. But you can see from my excitement that what Lance has in his hands is really, really interesting and really exciting.
Thank you both so much. And just because we're actually, talking about the nutrition side of things and really the benefits that this can bring on a biological level and on ethical levels as well, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I'm a biologist and a holistic health practitioner working with animals and humans. And I've been working with Timo for quite a few years now. We do a lot on animal nutrition, but all aspects of animal health and looking at bringing the body back into balance and educating humans on how to make the best lifestyle choices for their animals and hence themselves. And the reason I wanted to bring these two together today, Lance and Timo, is because these two really understand not only the science behind it, but also everything else about how it fits into the bigger picture of being more responsible humans. And we really want to bring you the benefits today and answer your questions, which is why we're doing it on a live, on how this can really help you and your animals. So, I mean, who wants to start? Let's talk. Let's start with you, Lance. Can you just introduce us to the algae oil and what DHA actually is and why that's so important?
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. So we could talk for so many hours about what DHA is. So I'll try to keep it interesting, but also, very brief so people can understand the concepts of it. So DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, people think of that as fish and fish oil, and that's true, but the fish eat the algae because the algae create the DHA. And so the algae is actually the source for this DHA. But DHA is a fat that is needed in the brain, in the eyes, in sperm actually as well. And it's fundamentally responsible for basically creating electricity in the brain, or facilitating that process and helping communication to happen throughout the whole brain and nervous system. It's responsible for us even being able to see right now. One of the main components of us being able to see is this fatty acid. The DHA, it's part of the cones and rods within the eyes. But as a fat in the brain, you guys, it's over 90% of this omega-3 DHA is needed in the brain. Okay, so EPA, we hear of that. Very little amounts is actually needed in the brain. It can be used, but the brain and nervous system need DHA. So this fat, it is basically responsible for keeping fluidity and keeping our cells and the membranes fluid and able to move and not be rigid. So if you think about it from just a practical level, if our cells and our membranes are fluid and they're not rigid and tight, then we're going to have less inflammation and everything in the body is going to work better. So that's kind of the short of it, but there's, clearly a lot more to it.
Yeah, and I will put, when this uploads to YouTube, I will also put the link to the previous video we did, Lance, where we went into that in more detail. Now, Timo, you have been, anyone who hasn't seen Timo before, Timo is phenomenal at bringing the science together with the practical implications of things. So, Timo, what is it? You've been looking into this product in a lot of detail, and you and I have been looking for something like this for our pets for quite a while to inform, sort of the humans about keeping their pets well in balance. What is it that you're particularly liking about this, and why is it so important for animal health as well as human health?
Well, I would like to first thank you. I would like to see this from two different aspects. One is the quality aspect. That means the quality of the oil when you consume it, what it does in your body, not just as a function, but what side effects it might have or what baggages it brings with itself. That's why when I first talked to Lance about it, the first thing I asked about, of course, toxical reports and see what toxins are, because the main disadvantage of fish oil is twofold. One, it oxidates very quickly because it's only grown in cold waters. And second, it comes with a lot of heavy metals and other toxins. And algae is the source of the oil. So going to algae is far more efficient than trying to get it from an animal source that is full of toxins, has to be farmed, has to be this, has to be that. So a lot of middlemen costs and side effects come with it when you try to get everything you have to get from fish instead of directly from the algae. So that was my main reaction when I first heard that what is Lance have to offer. And second thing is, this is more of a nerd stuff, but algae are the very first food on Earth throughout evolution. They are the very first food. So all our cells, all our organs, tissues, they all know algae oil fats perfectly. And they know how to use it. They know how to work with it. They know how to get rid of it. They know how to metabolize it. It is so ingrained into the DNA. It's so ingrained into the metabolic memory of all animal cells that it's just superior to anything else what we can get from outside. Now, of course, you can also have omega-3 fatty acids from plant sources, which are in a different form. And for humans, this is mostly not a big issue. They can also work with it. But for pets, especially pets that eat meat, so carnivores, they have to get certain type of omega-3 fatty acid, which we will talk in detail. And for that, this is just superior in any form. Like, you cannot discuss about it. It's just so superior. That's why I'm super excited.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very important. Now, there's also a lot of ethical reasons why we want to be getting this important compound from the algae rather than the fish, because overfishing and fish pollution is a massive problem at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the baggage is bigger than the advantage, right? So you are taking something, it's like I tell you, do you want something that brings you a lot of energy? You say yes, and I give you cocaine. That comes with a lot of baggage. You know, it's like it gives you, yes, your energy. But why? This is like fish oil is a junk oil because it comes with so much junk in it. Yes, it has its uses, but till it reaches your brain, your nervous system, it makes so much damage already. There is no point in using it. There are studies that show that people who consume fish oil, like in tablets, regularly or gels, they live shorter, like up to 10 years shorter. And that's a huge, huge sign of how toxic these things are. And just for as a disclaimer, because I work in pet food industry, and Catherine knows it very well too, there is no such thing as wild-caught salmon oil. Like almost never happens. We cannot find it. There is no organic salmon oil. We cannot find it. And we tried really hard to find it, and nobody has it. So therefore, believe me when I say it's superior to fish oil. I'm not talking about the fresh fish you caught in the Mediterranean Sea with your rod, but it's about the fish oil you can buy. And that's one of the most toxic things you can ever touch, yet alone swallow.
And it's a real problem, isn't it? Because obviously a lot of people, a lot of humans, but also a lot of humans who are responsible for feeding their dogs and cats. That's one of the things that is not only added to a lot of ready-made foods that they buy, but also that they're told often by vets to supplement with. So unfortunately, it's very misleading.
Yeah, it's also the healthcare professionals for human health. They also say, take fish oil, it's good for you, although they never checked really what the studies say. And yes, for Tokyo Anna, it was a really good remark. Yes, the Japanese eat it in its natural form, and that makes a lot of sense. And that's the best way to do it. And I want to also point out of something that's mostly not talked about. When you buy the fish oil in bottles, it says keep it in the fridge, but you never buy it from a fridge. So most of the fish oil is already highly oxidated. The omega-3 is very sensitive, especially according to where it is produced in the body, for which fish is producing it, or let's not fish, of course, but which algae is producing it and which conditions that are produced. Like linseed, flax seeds have a far superior heat stability of their oil because they grow under the sun. But the fish that swims in 5-degree ocean has a total different omega-3 structure because it has to be fluid in that structure, in that cold. And when it's fluid in that cold, believe me, it's sensitive when you heat it up to 36 degrees body temperature. And that's why, algae oil is just superior. There is no discussion about it. If you can prove it's clean, it's already superior. If you prove it also it's clean, then there is no better, nothing. So there's nothing better.
So Lance, on to that question. I'd like you to cover a couple of things. First of all, about the water extraction and then the testing that you do.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. So there's as Timo was describing, the fish and fish oil, like you really just don't want to touch it. And then people know about the other solutions, like the algae, like we have. Now there's many, well, there's a handful of algae oil companies out there, and some of them are doing it better than others in terms of the process. But all algae oil companies will use different plant oils to extract, and they'll also use hexane to extract. Now, the plant oils aren't bad in and of themselves, but if we're looking for, you know, a pure, clean product, why do we want to put something else in it when we should just have what it really is? Okay, so with what we're doing is we're doing a water-based extraction of this algae, and so we can extract those fats, and we list all of the different fats that we do extract in this on our website. And so the only thing that we actually have to put in it additionally is tocopherol, so like a vitamin E, and that's the preservative. So our product, if you just look at it from ingredient list, we have two ingredients, the algae and the tocopherol. Okay, so right there, that puts it at a very supreme clean product. And, you know, we haven't found another competitor who's doing anything like that. They're all using hexane because they have to. The process through which they have their system set up, they have to use hexane. So that leaves, you know, residue that we don't want to consume. And, you know, it's just a lot of different issues that can come from that. Secondly, we have run the numbers on, you know, what we're doing for DHA content, and we actually offer the best price per DHA on the market. Okay, so we have the cleanest and the best price per milligram what you're getting for DHA. And so another thing that people will be aware of is, okay, we're told we need X amount of DHA and X amount of EPA, and again, that's true in some sense, but the reason it's true is because all of those studies have been done on fish oils, and the fish converts the DHA and then it creates the EPA. And so all of the studies, or many of the studies that have been done on humans with fish oils, it's done with this converted EPA. And so we've really been conditioned as a society to believe that, okay, we have to have like a 1-to-1 ratio of, you know, 500 DHA to 500 EPA, when that's not true. The brain, as we talked about earlier, uses 90% DHA, and I've seen published data anywhere from 250 to 300 times less EPA is needed in the brain and nervous system than DHA. And so our ratio of the algae that we're using and the extraction comes closest to what any competitor we've found in terms of the ratio. So we have 1,000 milligrams of DHA per serving and 10 milligrams of EPA per serving. And so we know that DHA does retroconvert some to EPA. So for people who are concerned about not getting enough EPA, it's you don't need to be concerned, because the body can retroconvert DHA to EPA.
And just to clarify for those people that might be joining us now, because I noticed a few new people joining, is here we're talking about healthy, a healthy form, a really top quality form of omega-3, which is what most people will be talking about. Is that correct, guys? Yeah.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Just before we move on, I've got a couple of questions for Timo, but before we move on to that, you do also extensively test yours for heavy metals and contaminants, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, I proudly shared both that information with both of you too, so you could look at it and see this. And yeah, heavy metals came back, you know, well below anything that was
very
needed.
good. Yeah.
I mean, like extremely, almost not even detectable.
I also appreciate the oxidation levels you shared, because that is something that fish oil producer would never share. It's impossible. And even if they would share, after packaging it and sending it around the world in bottles that are under sunshine, daylight, whatever, and in the warm, it will change drastically. So it's a huge difference. It's awesome. A huge difference.
Thanks, Timo.
But what I appreciate the most, and you might find it very interesting, is that you have actual scale of of how many milliliters you are using. I don't know if you can see it, but on your this is super good. So you are not talking about drops. You are not talking about. You can really measure, pinpoint the amount you are using, and that I really like it. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we've got a question here about Beverly, who's allergic to fish.
But it's not fish. So
exactly.
This is a plant. It's a sea plant. It's from a sea plant. It's not from fish. The fish eats the plant, but not the other way around.
So can we talk a little bit about feeding guidelines? I know we're not allowed to talk about dosing because it's a natural supplement. So feeding guidelines, let's start with you, Timo, for cats and dogs, because we're really keen, aren't we, that cat and dog owners, which are often very deficient in the omega-3s, this is a perfect product for you to be using. So what sort of dosing would you be looking at for that? Oh, whoops, naughty me. Feeding guidelines would you be looking at, Timo, for that?
Well, it depends heavily how you feed your animal, of course. If you feed your animal with lots of fresh meat, you don't cook much, then you need far less than if you're feeding kibble or food rest from home, highly cooked, highly processed product. Because even if I add a lot of omega-3 in my food production, when I create the kibble, the temperature already eliminated most of it, like really a very high percentage of it. So the back of any product can say something, but that doesn't really translate as the real amount of omega-3s. So I would say for 10 kilograms of dog, I would take 0.5 milliliters per day. And that for cats is a bit different, though. I want to touch upon this, if it's okay for you both. So all of you talked about brain and nervous system. This is, of course, bigger picture. But the most important thing is that the omega-3 fatty acids are a part of the cell wall signature. And what I mean by that, the cell walls are made out of protein and fatty acids to create a certain type of matrix that can actively open, close, and selectively pick up things. Right, so it has its own brain, so to speak. I don't want to use brain, but it can decide by itself to what to get, what not to get. Even if you remove all the DNA from the cell nucleus, the cell keeps doing everything right and keeps on living. It cannot duplicate, but it lives as long as it lives because the cell wall does the job. It thinks and it does stuff. And the omega-3 signature is very, how do you say it, unique for each species, even different types of dogs and cats. And that's why the cats need different amount of omega-3 than the dogs, because they have a different type of fatty acid in their cell structure, which is arachidonic acid. It's a different type of acid, right? So they don't have that much need for omega-3 as a dog, which uses omega-3 fatty acids as a cell wall, how do you say it, component. Yeah, that's why I would use for the cats half of it, 0.25 per day per big cat. If it's a small cat, 0.12. You decide. It depends on the weight of your cat.
Now, I tested this. I said to Lance last time, I tested it with my 5 cats and then I had 3 dogs, unfortunately, only down to 2 now. And all of them absolutely loved it. They all selected it, which was really good, particularly for any of us that have got cats. We know how fussy they can be. So what about for humans, Lance? So what's the recommended for maintenance amount for a human?
I guess it depends what maintenance would be classified as, but just in general, Catherine, what has been shown is that, okay, so our omega-3 index, the average American, let's say, and this probably applies to many people around the world, but here in America at least, the statistics are that the average person's omega-3 index is about 4%. Okay, and I'm going to give context as to what that means. So in general, we need to consume 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of DHA per day to raise our omega-3 levels to what is classified as healthy, around 8 to 12%. Okay. And that takes 3 to 6 months, depending on the person, depending on their lifestyle, their diet, all sorts of things. But what they've shown for just good overall health, so let's just say maintenance of health, or, you know, improving one's health to a good healthy status, it's 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams a day, because it's going to raise those omega-3 levels, or that index percentage, to that 8% saturation point, or up to 12%. And that is what's going to be helping to give us, you know, a healthy cognitive function, healthy cardiovascular support, healthy insulin responses, healthy blood pressure, you know, things like that, and different physiological mechanisms that can result from it. But also with the brain and the nervous system, 1,000 to 2,000 as well definitely can induce neurogenesis, and that is, you know, the repairing of damaged neurons in the brain, and, you know, just the supporting of the whole structure and function of neurons. So that's sort of the general answer. There will be different recommended dosages based on, you know, a person's protocol or a different clinician or practitioner, but many studies show 1,000 to 2,000 a day is what's going to actually really give someone the effects that they're looking for. You know, we're looking to take something to feel the effects, and not just take it and you know, maybe kind of hope that we're feeling it. We want to see some difference, and dosages at that level can really help support people's health.
Yeah, fantastic. Timo, what about other animals apart from cats and dogs? Would this be of benefit to them?
Well, it might be, depends on what they're eating again. If you have a racehorse, they're eating a hard feed all the time, yes, for sure. And it also can replace flaxseed, because they consume a lot of flaxseed oil and big amounts of flaxseed, which is not good at all, because, especially for the male populace, because it increases the phytoestrogen. It brings side effects, so to speak, that we don't want for the females too. So, and horses have no gallbladder, so they cannot use that much of oil. They cannot just digest it. They just have no system to do that. So, yeah, a drop 2 to 4 milliliters of this algae oil will be totally enough to cover their basic needs, and the rest they can still convert and take it from the green rough food they're eating. And if the horse is drinking fresh water from lakes and flowing water, it's a different story. They get more of it, of course, but most of the horses need it.
Yeah,
so
that would be very unlikely. Yeah. That most
and one more thing, maybe we didn't talk about it, that the immune system depends on the DHA a lot, and the hyperreaction, allergies, and a lot of hyperreaction, especially horses show it in behavior, is constantly challenging the immune system. And maybe with DHA, we have to test it. We might help that out, but we have to test it, of course.
Great. So we've got a question here. I've heard the oil goes bad, puts this lady off buying that type of DHA. I mean, we've covered that a bit in terms of how much more stable it is, and why there's a huge problem with fish oil, and that's applicable. But you sent the oxidization test, didn't you? And they were really good. So the stability of this is very good, isn't it, Lance?
Yeah, absolutely. And because of the way we're doing it, specifically the water extraction, and you know, we don't have to do the hexanes, we don't have to do all the processing that will expose it to the air and quickly begin the oxidizing process. You know, we have a 2-year shelf life on this, that we're confident that, you know, oxidation really isn't going to occur. Of course, you need to be smart about it. You can't leave it open and you know, expose it to direct sunlight, but for sure it's very stable, and much more so than others that we've found.
So dry and cool is dry, cool, and dark, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I must say, when I had my two old animals and my mother's old dog, we noticed a big increase, almost immediate. I called you about it, didn't I, Timo, in mobility. Now, bear in mind, these were dogs that were both already being fed a very healthy raw diet. To see such a quick change was really, really encouraging. Have you got any comments on that, Timo?
Yeah, I tested on myself too, and it really has a direct effect on my joint mobility for sure. And it's very potent. But I don't want to see it as a medicine. So I think that's the wrong way, the wrong direction to go. If I want to have a healthy life for myself or for the animals, it's more important than what we can do to make it sustainable. And that's why the effects are too big to just ignore.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to experiment more with it and create perfect feeding guides for animals over the time, and see the results and see the responses from the pet owners.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Now, in terms of safety, could a dog or cat owner overdose on this?
Cat for sure, but I don't think it's going to be very visible very quickly, especially if the cat is fed well with all the other things, the basic food is good, then no. But too much omega-3 can happen to a cat, not for a dog. That's they have to really pour the whole bottle into the mouth to get diarrhea, and that's about it. So that's about the only thing that can happen. But for cats, yeah, it might disrupt the normal cell division over time if it's done like 5, 6, 7 milliliters every day. But with the amounts we are talking about, it's not possible.
No, really healthy. And you hit on a very important point there, both of you. It's a weird noise coming from someone's mic. I'm not sure what.
Let me.
Is it Kane?
It's an airplane.
Oh, I hope you're not just about to be raptured, Lance. So aliens are coming to get you. I'm laughing because we've got the comment here about watch the water. Yes, so many comments about watch the water and what that might be. So as Timo really importantly pointed out there, what we're looking to do is bring options to people that are really, really important in today's world with the quality of food, air, water available to us, that are going to really enhance health on an ongoing basis in all sorts of areas. So if anyone else hasn't got any other comments, this is your last chance. Those of you, thank you so much, those of you that have joined us. If anyone's got any other comments, feel free to put them here. And then once this gets uploaded, I will keep an eye on the comments. And if I can't ask the question, I know two men that can. Any final comments from you first, Timo, about...
Well, for me, it's really exciting times to have something like this, clean, efficient, non-oxidized, healthy, very healthy supplement, which, funny enough, that doesn't come very often these days, that a supplement is really healthy. And I'm also very excited for Lance to go to a journey like this and try to change the industry the way it works, which the fish oil industry is a huge industry. It's like multi-billion industry, very big. And yeah, in German we would say Hut ab or chapeau. It's good. Well done.
Awesome.
And in the UK we'd say bottoms up. Yeah.
that has a different meaning for me. But yeah.
Oh, Lance, any final words from you? And then we're talking about the shipping options before we finish.
Yeah, and I've got some good news on that too. Some new updates, that just came in this morning. So, thanks Timo, and thanks Catherine. This has really been amazing, and I definitely want to do this again and keep sharing information and get feedback from people as they use this on themselves and their pets, and just keep spreading the good information. And that's what this is. Like, we have the source of it. We have the pure, true, original source, the algae. And Timo, we are going to talk about this a little bit, but we'll save it for another conversation. DHA is, you know, a compound that is not solely, but massively responsible for the evolution of awareness and consciousness and cognition and the development of the brain, nervous system, and eyes for all of life on this planet. Like you said, Timo, it's the primary original food source. So like if we're looking to consume something to help us, we're looking for some sort of nutrient or some compound, some supplement, some biohacking, you know, cool thing. What's more important than DHA, the compound that has actually driven evolution itself, and not Darwinian evolution, but, you know, the development of species and life. DHA has been responsible for that. So it's, you know, I don't want to say it's the biggest or the best biohack you could do, but it is right up there at the top of, you want something to consume, something that's going to help your brain and cognition, help your joints, your heart, you know, your DNA, everything. DHA really is something that checks all those boxes. And it's, I mean, there's not really much that comes close to it. Water is, you know, I think probably surpassed
number one. Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, it's amazing stuff. And we really do want to help people with this and help animals, because we've just been fed these, or given these options, like the fish and the fish oil, that a lot of people don't want to do. You know, they're not interested. So how do you go find a real solution to it? And so this is what we brought out, and we're very happy about it. And we'll just let it continue to speak for itself, and we will do what we can to get the word out there and share something that's really going to help a lot of people and animals.
Yeah. Can I say something also? Just to add, I see that you and I, we look at the DHA from totally different perspectives, because for me, DHA is something that is in every live cell, produces its cell wall, and it just decides of the future of this single cell. So it's like the effect is far bigger for me than when I think DHA. I never think about brain or nerves. I think about like every cell, every living cell that is living, like not just functioning, but living and actively doing things. That's why the effect on the immune system and general health is far bigger than just being a bit sharper that day. And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but if you have an IQ of 90, you will not see much change, right? But if you are a high, if you are a high intelligent, or let's say high capacity person who works with the brain all the time, your attention and the solution, how do you say it? Your ability to create solution changes. Really, it has an effect. So you start to see difference in your productivity. And with your attention and how many details you can actually see, far more than just like feeling, oh, I'm healthier and my nerves feel better. It's far more, it's not that subtle. The change is big.
I can't wait to bring you two back for another conversation on consciousness, because Lance knows and Timo knows something I'm really passionate about, because the more conscious we are, the more we're tuned in, the better decisions we're going to make all over aspects of our life. I just want to address Monique's issue here. Monique, don't feel guilty at all. You know, we all, this is why we wanted to bring this conversation here today, because unfortunately, this is a situation for a lot of us, is that we've done the best research we can and do this. Now you've got a solution. So as soon as this uploads on YouTube, the link will be below about how to order. But if you go to www.catherineedwards.life, you can see it scrolling above below the bottom, and Andrea's tagged it in the chat as well. Thank you, Andrea. You can order this. We've got a couple of other things. Do you ship to France, Lance? So you are now able to ship to the UK and Europe, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. And so we do ship to the UK and the EU. If the order for the UK is under 135 or 130 pounds, then it will only be taxed with the VAT, and that charge will come up initially. You'll see that. If it goes over that, the person will have to pay a little bit extra duties and customs, and that's just going to depend what they order and how much. For the EU, if the order is 150 euros or less, then it will only be that VAT tax that comes up on the transaction. If it goes over that, there'll be a little bit duties and customs that are due upon receiving the product. But the VAT is calculated in, so you'll know what that price is up front. If it's under 130 for UK and under 150 for the EU.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So any questions, you all know where I am. The amazing Andrea has shared the link here. Yes, Toykiana, we are all just at different stages of brilliant. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you, Timo and Lance, so much for...
Hey, greetings back to Portugal.
Greetings back to Portugal, yeah, one of your favourite places.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you all for participating. If you like this, please do share with your other friends who've got dogs, cats, horses, humans. Notice the order that I say it in, which shows my priority. And we're very open. I will keep an open... Oh, my lovely friend Colette's on here as well. Hi, Colette. Lovely to see you. So I will keep an eye on the comments and respond back as much as I can to them. And if you would like me to get Lance and Timo back to discuss some of these areas in more detail, please do let us know. I always learn so much from you both. So thank you all for your time. Thank you, Andrea, for your help. And see you all soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.